Ian, Director of Rugby at Fleetwood.
That's right, yeah.
Just a little bit about the role that you actually play at the club.
Okay, well, this is the first season that I've been on board as Director of Rugby. We had a season where there was a vacant position and there was nobody to fulfil that position. It came about that I left my full-time employment and I had a bit more time on my hands, and Steve Woodburn, our coach, asked me if I would take the role on this season, which I did. So at the moment, we're kind of learning as we're going through the process, trying to build up links between different sections of the club. Really, as you can see out here tonight, there's a fantastic number of young people in the club who are playing the game, and this is the bread and butter of what we're about as a club. We are a community club. Many of our senior players now have come through this system. They've come through the mini junior system, the Colts, and this is we call it our production line, where the vast majority of our players come from. In fact, this coming Saturday, we've got 3 of the senior Colts for the first time who will be representing the first team against Bolton at home. We already had one young man, Mr. Torkington, who was previously been selected 2 or 3 times. We've now got the 2 twins, the Brocklehurst boys, who've been selected for the first team squad. So it all is part of the ongoing process of the fantastic work that our junior section do, and our Colts, and all the coaches that give up their time to develop these young lads. And that's where we get the vast majority of our senior players from. We don't, geographically, we're out on a limb here at Fleetwood. We struggle to bring in players from out in the wider community, if you will. Geographically, we rely very much on our homegrown talent, and at the moment it's proving dividends. The first team have had a good, very good start to the season. We had a bit of a lull mid-season. Things didn't go quite to plan. It's quite a tradition with Fleetwood that we play very well on dry pitches at the start of the season and the end of the season. Mid-season, we struggle on the heavy pitches, and it tends to slow our running game down. Coupled with that, we've had probably more than our fair share of injuries to a number of players, lack of availability for a number of reasons, work commitments. So we have the number of players that have played first team rugby fluctuate from week to week. We've got a big squad that have been used, and that goes across the second and third team as well. The team's sort of very fluent, if you like. The lads change week in, week out. But it's great to say that we're always able to put 3 teams on the field on Saturday, even though we've lost a lot to poor weather, a lot of cancellations, which has been really frustrating. We've had lads picked to play on Saturday, chomping at the bit. They look forward to this Saturday all week long. It's for a lot of boys, it's what we talk about during the week through social media. They're looking forward to the game and how it's going to go, and then come Saturday morning, quite often I've got not the most pleasant task of doing pitch inspections along with the ground staff, and we've had to come up with some bad decisions in terms of the players' point of view, but the only decisions as far as we're concerned for the safety of the players. It's paramount, obviously.
And of course, this Saturday, those 3 teams all at home at Melbourne Avenue. The weather's been kind up to now.
Yeah. I was down at the club this morning with the ground staff. We looked at the pitches. Although it's been dry since our deluge at the weekend, the pitches they haven't really drained as well as we thought, but they are playable now. The 2 home pitches will be for the first and second team. The first team have got a rearranged game against Bolton, who they narrowly lost to only 2 weeks ago away. This is the rearranged fixture from before Christmas, so we're hoping to go quite well against them. The second team have got Albinians at home, and the thirds have got Aspel at home. This would have been our second consecutive weekend with 3 home teams. So it augurs for a really good Saturday for us. 3 home teams, followed by an international game. The club should be full, it should be bouncing, and that's what we want. That helps to bring coffers into the club to keep us going.
And then just going back to your role, just recently you go into schools as well, and Hodson hosted Cardinal Allen, and there was 18 green and gold players involved in that game.
That's right. I don't know. As well as my role at the senior club as Director of Rugby, my title is actually there. It's Mini Junior Development Officer, and that role was something that I was approached by the Mini Junior section again, when they got wind of the fact that I had a little bit of time on my hands, that it would be a way of utilising my time to go into schools, and that's what I've done primarily in the early start of the season, but we've kept that going through. Doing coaching sessions for youngsters in schools, but also trying to encourage as many of these youngsters to come and join our great club. And we've had a few. Some of the boys down here tonight, some of this squad here, the under-11s, are a product of myself going into schools and delivering coaching sessions and giving out, spreading the green and gold gospel, if you like. So that's another issue. Yeah, I think it's key. It's absolutely key to have that link between what we've got here, young children enjoying the game at the very basic level, grassroots level, but developing that talent as they grow older. And on the far side, down the bottom there, you'll see the Colts training, our senior Colts, the under-18s. As I've already said, we've got 3 of those boys now stepping up to first team level. More of those into the second and third team. And we need to retain as many of those boys as we can. It's all that retention, keeping them interested, keeping them wanting to be part of the club. So that's where we're at. So the whole thing sort of dovetails together, really. Both roles, to me, although they are separate roles, as such, they're inextricably linked together. That the one feeds into the other. So I like to think that I can have an overview of everything that's going on from 6 years old to open age rugby.
And then just one final quick word. You mentioned the international, England on Saturday. How do you think they'll do?
It's got to be the Red Rose of England, I'm afraid, at home turf. I was fortunate enough to go to Murrayfield to see England beat Scotland up there. Yeah, I think we've got to be favourites at home, and the Irish are quite nervous about travelling to Twickenham, I've read. So yeah, it's got to be a white win.
Right, thanks very much, Ian.
No problem.